Today, we are talking about the internet's favorite pastime, schizoposting. Schizoposting is when somebody posts the most unhinged, deranged, insane ramblings you have ever heard in your life, usually new age or conspiracy related, and they act like it's completely obvious stuff, and they're totally serious about it. So, I've got a little compilation of schizoposting taken from TikTok, Instagram, wherever else, and we're going to watch those together and talk about it. So, let's do that.
Sun gazing is an ancient Egyptian practice that will drastically improve your life on all levels, mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Two things here. No, it isn't, and no, it won't. The ancient Egyptians did not sun gaze. Sun gazing was invented in the 1800s by some random weirdo, as is usually the case when we're talking about videos like this. As far as I can tell, the only people claiming Egyptians looked at the sun are New Age websites. And of course, I know exactly how that happened. No doubt, somebody made fun of someone, and that someone was like, "Well, you think I'm stupid? Well, here's the thing, dude. Did you know that the ancient Egyptians looked at the sun too? Who's stupid now?" It's exactly how that happens. Second thing I want to say here is, don't look at the sun. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It can really mess you up. It can really ruin your eyesight. It can cause black spots, blurred vision, cataracts. It can cause you to go blind with enough exposure. Don't do it. It's not worth it. The sun is a nuclear furnace. Don't do it. Ever had sunburn before? Sucks, doesn't it? Do you really want to subject yourself to that in your eyeballs? No? Didn't think so. Don't do it. Not worth it.
Now, the 30-minute window when the sun rises and the sun sets, because the sun actually doesn't rise or set, it just comes in and out of our perspective, it is
I like how both of these guys seem to have just discovered the Earth rotates on its axis, and the sun only looks like it's rotating around the Earth. I mean, they both seem like they just found this out, and it is blowing their minds.
actually safe to gaze at the sun. Not only is it safe, but it will improve your eyesight, improve your endocrine health, improve your sleep cycles. It balances melatonin and serotonin levels, which is your feel-good chemicals. It will boost your energy, and most importantly, it will decalcify the pineal gland. Now, the ancient
I have to say, the most basic critical thinking measures here could do a lot of damage to these sorts of narratives, because it's like, according to who? Who actually is telling you all of this stuff, and why do you believe them? Are they referring to scientific studies? I'm sure they can cherry pick one to say pretty much anything they want it to say. But no, they're just like talking about stuff some guy on the internet has told them through some meme. This is your brain on algorithms, everyone.
the ancient Egyptians realized how important sun gazing is as they depicted it in their iconography.
Oh lord, the amateur Egyptologists have arrived to school all of us on they don't understand.
You can also see here when the rays of the sun hit the eyes of the ancient Egyptian god is presented with the Ankh. Now, the Ankh is the symbol of eternal life. It represents spirituality, duality.
Oh, I get it. That guy's a hotep. Is that a slur? I don't think that's a slur. So if you haven't heard the term before, hoteps are people who believe that black people built the pyramids and pretty much everything important in the ancient world. Eventually, they'll say they built ancient Rome, too, if they're not already. But, yeah, genetic studies have shown that ancient Egyptians were very similar to modern-day people from Syria. So, just more conspiracy stuff, basically.
And the sun is quite literally the giver of all life. Now, these people did not worship the sun like you have been indoctrinated to believe. Worshipping is something that Christians do with Jesus.
I like how Christians apparently invented the concept of worship. No, they didn't, in fact. They did worship their God very differently than previous peoples had. You may remember how in the Old Testament, for example, the Jews sacrificed things in the temple to Yahweh. That sort of thing was pretty common all throughout history before the Christians, but Christianity flipped the script a little bit by making it more about what you believed than what you did. Ancient religion before Christianity was all about the actions you performed in your worship. But yes, the ancient Egyptians did have worship, and they did worship Ra, not the sun specifically. Ra was the sun god, not the sun. This is just pseudo-history at its finest, you know.
Understood that without the sun, there would be no life on earth, and in turn, they paid their endless gratitude and respect towards the sun. And this is exactly why we have been indoctrinated since birth to fear the sun.
That doesn't make any sense. Who has been indoctrinating us to fear the sun? I'm not afraid of the sun. I go outside all the time. I like hiking, I like walking, I like running, I like bicycles. I go outside probably more than that guy does. I really like the sun. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to stare at it. Seems like a bad idea.
Oh, the sun causes cancer. Wear sunglasses, wear sunscreen. It's all bullshit.
The sun does cause cancer, and it does hurt your eyes. I mean, you'll notice if you just glance at it, it's painful. Why is that? Well, that's your eyes' way of saying, hey, don't subject me to this, it's not good. If you look at the sun long enough, eventually you'll do enough damage that you can look at it a whole lot easier, which is what these people do. But obviously, if the sun can cause so much pain from sunburns and cause the peeling and the damage to your skin, it's not good. Have you ever seen somebody who, like, sunbathes frequently? By the age of, like, 45, 50, their skin looks like leather. How can that possibly be healthy or good for you?
Because they know that the sun will upgrade your DNA and elevate your consciousness. And it will.
What does that mean? What does that mean exactly? These people say very vague stuff and never explain what's it mean to upgrade your consciousness and DNA. Because, yeah, it'll upgrade your DNA to cancer, if you consider that an upgrade, which with these people, I can't be sure. Sometimes I think these people just have a death wish.
Will tap you into your true divinity. This is why these people were able to accomplish wonders. Being afraid of the one thing that gives life to everything on this earth is the highest form of manipulation and brainwashing. So go out and sun gaze. Peace and love.
Don't do that. Don't listen to this guy. He will get you hurt. So that's fascinating stuff. Very interesting. Thanks. I hate it. We'll give that one a 0 out of 10. In fact, it's pointless rating all of these because they'll all get 0s out of 10. So let's go to the next one. This woman is about to demonstrate something called the ideomotor effect. She doesn't seem to know she's doing that. She thinks like these are messages from spirits or whatever, but really this all comes from her. These are her own biases at play. The ideomotor effect is the same thing that fuels the planchette on a Ouija board. It's you. You're the one doing it. You don't realize you're doing it, but you are the one doing it. So let's watch her reveal her psychological biases here and maybe respond to a couple of them.
Is the Mandela effect real? Yes, thank you. If you dream about someone repeatedly, are they thinking about you? Yes, thank you. Was the Virgin Mary's pregnancy a case of alien abduction and insemination?
Okay, where did that one come from? I hope these are just like questions people gave her, but wow, that was really something, huh?
No, thank you. Does space have an endpoint? No, thank you.
See, this is what happens when you don't know enough about science and how the universe works. You develop all these superstitions to answer your questions. We do have a pretty good answer to this question. The Big Bang, as far as we are aware, created space and time as it works currently in the universe. So presumably, at the end of the space-time created by the Big Bang is the end of space as we know of it. So there's your scientific answer. You don't have to ask the spirits. You could just ask a scientist for this one.
Are there messages or any type of symbolic meaning in clouds? Yes, interesting. Was Stonehenge made by humans? No, thank you.
Now, I want to know who this woman thinks created Stonehenge exactly, if not humans. What is this, like a reptilian thing? What I don't. Who created Stonehenge, and why did it have to be somebody other than humans? It's just a bunch of like big rocks, dude.
Do mudras work? Yes, thank you.
So I don't know what mudras are. It sounds very Indian, doesn't it? I assume somebody will tell me in the comments what that is. But that does make it seem more likely she's just answering other people's questions with her own biases. So she didn't seem to know what that was, but she said, yes, they work. So that's quite exciting, huh?
Is it possible to use magic only for good? Yes, thank you. Can shamans travel through different dimensions? Yes, thank you.
Interesting how there's no proof for any of this stuff. Shamans aren't traveling through different dimensions. Shamans aren't really going anywhere. They're just kind of here. You know, if they had all this spiritual power, I can imagine a lot of terrible things in human history wouldn't have happened. I'll say the same about like any religion. If Judaism were real, they probably wouldn't have been like conquested over and over. If Hinduism were real, Indians probably wouldn't have been conquested, so on and so forth. I think like these things are just nonsense. They make people feel good about themselves and feel important and all that, and that's really what it's about, right? This makes her. My hand is behind the thing. This makes her feel important, like she has answers, she has a divinity in her or outside of her or something. And it's the same thing with like the hoteps, as in the previous video. I mean, they want to feel important. Like, this is all a product of insecurity. When you do stuff like this, you are revealing your insecurities. And so let us continue on to the next one.
So I've been able to see beyond the veil ever since I was a kid. It's a curse and a blessing, but that's not the point. There's this tree that's like in the in-between of like different worlds and dimensions, and it's falling apart. And when I was little, the fae and the little people,
the little people? Like Big Nick little people?
Toads would visit me at this tree. And it was the first time I had ever experienced like real magic. This will help me remember who I was and why I came here.
I think she's talking about like past lives or something. Remember who I was and why I came here. Here is probably the Earth.
And it's just so devastating, but it's so beautiful. The cycle of life is so beautiful. But watching something that was like the remembrance of my soul, like helped me walk into different places, literally. I just want to share this beautiful moment for any.
I think this is like the most schizo of the schizo posting that I've seen recently. I mean, I included this one for a very specific reason. We'll get to that in a second.
Anybody that resonates with this dream. This is what she looks like from the far. So when trees twist like that actually means that there's a vortex. But I should make a video during the day so you can see it better. It's just so devastating because it gets worse every time I go. So I've been able to see.
So the reason I included this clip is because a lot of people say, well, spirituality isn't like harming you. Why do you care? And my response to that is, it may not harm me directly, but it harms other people, and I care about other people. When you take spiritual nonsense and mix it with a good dose of psychosis or schizophrenia or any number of things, bipolar mania, you end up with stuff like this. This is what you get. This woman is in some kind of a crisis state. This is not normal, obviously. I shouldn't have to say it, but this is not normal behavior. And I'm not saying that in like a conservative, Republican, right-wing sort of like, oh, look at the woke weirdo who loves the trees. I'm saying like this is genuine psychological disturbance, and it's easy to see. This is not the first time I've seen stuff like this. I have an ex that when I was dating them, they started all of a sudden taking astrology very seriously after having not done that before, and they felt like they were doomed because of the stars. And it turns out that was the onset of schizophrenia in them, like actual diagnosed schizophrenia. Their mom had it, it runs in their family, it's pretty bad stuff. And now, the person that I knew before that is just gone, wiped away by schizophrenia. They don't exist anymore. There's nothing there that had been there. And I hate to say that because I know it sounds dehumanizing. There is a new person in place of the old. It's just a fact. I cannot in any way relate to the person I used to know. And I do blame this spiritual influencer stuff for this kind of behavior. I mean, I know that like my ex would have developed schizophrenia regardless. But I do think this spiritual stuff made it that much worse because it gave them all these superstitious beliefs about why they were doomed and all the bad things that were going to happen to them and so on and so forth. It's just a gnarly situation. I mean, and this is maybe going to be a little bit disturbing, so you might want to skip what I'm about to say. But one day, just after all this started and I realized things were starting to get a little bit bad, I had gone out with a friend to get sushi. And when I came back, my ex, who was then not my ex, I came back to them screaming to our roommate. They were on the bed screaming at our roommate. And they were just screaming over and over, "I'm bleeding, I'm bleeding." And I guess the ambulance had just gotten there just as I walked in, because I didn't like see the ambulance pull up or hear them or anything, but I did hear people come in behind me, And they didn't wait a second. I guess the door was open on the other side of the house. They didn't wait a second. They came right in. And they were preparing to move my ex. And my ex the whole time was screaming, "I'm bleeding, I'm bleeding." And the paramedics couldn't find anything. And my ex said, "My stomach, it's bleeding." And it was a really disturbing experience. And of course, at the hospital, they could find nothing wrong. Of course, my ex didn't have any stomach problems with like bleeding or anything. As far as I can tell, it was just like a delusion. And then I found out later that they had been watching a TV preacher who said, somebody out there has stomach bleeding, and it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. And I guess they took that very seriously and internalized it, and it just overwhelmed them. So this stuff is not harmless. I mean, right here you see actual consequences. This is what this can lead to if spiritual stuff is mixed with like schizophrenia, psychosis, bipolar, any number of things. It's bad stuff.
It's getting big.
That's what she said.
Oh my god.
But there's 2 lights up there. Holy shit.
Oh my god, dude, there's 2 lights up there. There's 2 lights. I think the big like tell here is Southern California. What is in Southern California? Well, there's a lot of defense stuff. There's lots of like missile launches, which is exactly what this is. This is a rocket booster thing. This is known to happen. This has happened just countless times. People are always amazed by it. And yeah, it's pretty wild. Like, it's a beautiful thing to see. Like, it's like seeing a little nova in the sky. You can see that there's a rocket over to the left there, and probably like a stage of the rocket towards like the right side of it doing that little spirally thing. It's really cool stuff, and obviously people just like don't know what to make of it, but I feel like if you're in Southern California, you should probably have a better idea than most people, because like rocket launches are pretty common down there.
What is that? Oh my god, look at the design! What does it mean?
The design, look at the design, what does it mean? Well, it means humans have like pattern-seeking functions in our brains, and sometimes they misfire, and we see a cloud caused by a rocket and think it's a design. It's the aliens are speaking to us.
I don't know, come down here and take me though. Is the world ending?
Is the world ending? Well, sadly, no. I'm stuck here with you for a while yet.
You can literally manifest whatever the you want, including changing the past.
Okay, if that's true, why are you not manifesting like a microphone to speak into instead of a pen?
This man right here, Neville Goddard, taught the art of revision, okay? And this is a technique based on the fact that all things exist right here, right now, in the present moment. The past does not recede away into history. It's in fact projecting forward, creating our future. This is how he said to do it before sleep. At the
Okay, I just want to point something out here. I looked up this Neville Goddard guy. He died of an esophageal rupture, which sounds like a not fun way to go. It seems like all the manifestation in the world couldn't prevent that, because, like, who would want to die from that? That sounds like a terrible way to go. If I were going to manifest anything, if I could think of one thing to manifest other than, like, riches untold, what I would manifest would be, I don't know, dying surrounded by family and friends and loved ones peacefully in my sleep. I think that'd be, like, the main thing you should want to manifest. What's the point of manifesting all that other stuff if you forget, like, the big thing and die of, like, an esophagus rupture?
At the end of my day, I review the day. I don't judge it. I simply review it. I look over the entire day, all the episodes, all the events, all the conversations, all the meetings, and then as I see it clearly in my mind's eye, I rewrite it. I rewrite it and make it conform to the ideal day I wish I had experienced. I take the revised...
So you just, like, use your imagination to pretend the day was different, and you think that makes it different? Because it, like, doesn't. It does not.
...day, and I do it over and over in my imagination until this seeming imagined state begins to take on to...
It's not a seeming imagined state. It is literally just your imagine. That's imagination. It's not making things real. You can't unimagine the Holocaust, for example. You just can't do that. You can't unimagine 9/11. You can't suddenly manifest $1 billion right in front of you. It's not happening. I mean, if manifestation were real, nobody would be making videos about it on TikTok, because everybody would be like getting laid constantly and just like partying it up. in their big giant mansions. You know, that's how you can tell manifestation is not real. Because if manifestation were real, they wouldn't be doing videos about it. They wouldn't have to. They'd be doing more fun things, manifesting whatever they want.
To me, the tones of reality, it seems that it's real, that I actually did experience it, and I have found from experience that these revised days, if really lived, will change my tomorrows.
Fake news, not real. And I hate to say it, but like anything that happens in life, you're going to achieve that by doing it. Like, you're not going to achieve that by just imagining it. Imagination is good. Imagination can tell you where you need to go, what you need to do, but that's all it can do. Imagining your past was different is not going to make your past different. You are not going to materialize your desired future by trying to change the past with your imagination. And wishful thinking is not enough. You actually have to get out there and do the work. Now, is that enough? Well, oftentimes, no, because we live in a chaotic, random universe that does not give a single about you. Sad fact, but a fact nonetheless. The universe does not care. There is no one coming to save you. You have to do it yourself. You may fail anyway. You can do everything right and still fail.
It is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not a weakness. That is life.